Clouds Cry Too, with Catherine. Hello, welcome to Clouds Cry Too, a brand new podcast about mental health. In this podcast, I'm going to talk about various mental illnesses, from the most common ones like depression and anxiety to the least talked about ones like PPD, schizophrenia, PTSD, and so on. I'm also going to give you some advice on how to deal with each one of them and teach you some coping skills. This podcast is for all of those people who have mental illnesses, for the people who know someone with one and don't know what to do, and for the ones who simply want to know more about this topic. First of all, I think it's important for you to know who you're listening to. I'm Catherine, and you probably know me because of my blog on Tumblr, The Suicide Effect. I try to help people there and give them advice when they've got something wrong going on in their lives. If you're wondering, by the way, I do have a mental illness. I have generalized anxiety disorder associated with panic disorder, and I have EDNOS, which stands for eating disorder not otherwise specified. I am currently seeing a psychiatrist and I take 100 milligrams of Zoloft every day. Well, before beginning this episode, I'd just like to clear some things out. I am not a professional. I didn't study psychology. I'm no psychiatrist. I'm just a regular person who is trying to fight the mental health stigma and make people realize they're not alone in this battle. I've had to deal with many things in my life, and I know how hard it is to go through hard times like the ones you may be facing right now. I've seen many cases of people with mental illnesses who didn't get the right treatment, or people who had no one to support them when they were going through a hard time. So in some way, I try to be that person for the ones who need someone and don't have. Well, now that you've met me, let's start the episode. Today I'm here to talk about mental illnesses in general, so I think we should start with a quick and easy definition for mental illness. I did some research the other day, and I've come to the conclusion that a mental illness is a psychological problem that affects a person's mental health and well-being. They can result from the combination of social, psychological, or even biological factors. For this episode, I've also searched some myths about this topic, and I've realized there are still many things people don't know, so I'm going to demystify them to help you understand a little bit about how all of this works like. Let's start then. Myth number 1. Children and teenagers don't experience mental health problems. Any problems they have are just part of growing up. Facts. 1 in 5 children and young people struggle with their mental health. 70% of mental illnesses begin during childhood or adolescence. People tend to think that mental illnesses do not affect younger people, and I don't know why. It's just part of growing up, they say. The truth is that, just like the name indicates, it's an illness, so it needs to be treated just like a simple flu, for example. Did you know that half of mental health problems start showing signs before a person turns 14? As you can see, it's not like children are strangers to these type of problems. If you know someone who has told you they're not psychologically well, don't tell them they're being silly, no matter how old they are. Do not belittle what they're saying. If that person told you they think they had caught a cold, you take them to a doctor. So if someone says they're not psychologically well, help them find someone who can treat them. Mental illnesses are as important as physical illnesses, and I think that's something many people haven't realized yet. We're in the 21st century. It's time to take action. Myth number 2. There is no hope for people with mental health problems. Okay. Treatment works. There is a solution for everything. And I know I say this a lot, but the truth is that I really believe it. Mental illnesses can be treated, and it does work. I'm not going to lie to you. Recovery is not a simple and quick process. It takes time, patience, and effort, and in many cases, people may have a relapse, and I think that is why some of them give up and lose all hope. Do not do that, please. When you're in recovery, you don't get better overnight. It takes effort and sometimes you may feel like it's not working, but I can assure you it's working. Relapsing is totally normal. When you were learning how to ride a bike, you probably fell, but you didn't stay on the ground for too long now, did you? You got up and continued practicing in order to get better. The recovery process works like that as well. You just have to know how to get up and continue with the process of getting better. Treatment, recovery, therapy, it all works. You just have to be patient and hopeful. Myth number 3. I can't do anything for a person with a mental health problem. Friends, family members, loved ones in general, this is for all of you. You can help someone with a mental illness. In fact, you can make a huge difference. Knowing someone is there to support you and influence you in a positive way is already something that makes people feel better. Help them find doctors and services to treat them. Be patient. Let that person know you're there for them and learn about mental illnesses as well. Don't forget to treat them with respect and be a good listener. It's not that difficult, so you should try it out. You have no idea how much that can help someone. Myth number 4. People with mental illnesses are violent or dangerous. I don't know who came up with these, but this seems absurd. Why would people with mental illnesses be violent or dangerous? People with mental disorders are not psychopaths. The majority of them have depression or anxiety, which are disorders that affect their everyday activities, but they are not dangerous to society in any way. These people are not any different from the rest. They're just sick and they need treatment. Myth number 5. Depression is just a character flaw and people should just snap out of it. If there's something that irritates me in this world, is people who don't take this seriously. Mental illnesses have nothing to do with intelligence or laziness or weakness. It has nothing to do with someone's personality. Mental illnesses are illnesses, okay? Depression, for example, results from changes in brain chemistry or brain function. So stop treating mental illnesses as if they were someone's fault, because they're not. Myth number 6. You don't need therapy, just take a pill. Mental disorders are not like a migraine. You cannot just take an aspirin and hope it gets better. It takes time to recover from one. And like what many people think, mental disorders are not something simple. Another thing people should keep in mind is that there is no one best way to recover. Everyone is different, therefore different people need different treatments. For some people, Xanax may work better than Zoloft. Some people might need psychotherapy while others will be fine with just medication. You just need to talk with a doctor to figure out the best treatment plan for you. Myth number 7. People are just faking it and doing it for attention. No one wants a mental illness, trust me. They're not trying to seek out for attention. They're not being overdramatic. Mental illnesses are not something to joke with. They're very serious and very hard to deal with, so respect the ones who have it. They're not trying to grab your attention. They really are sick and they need your help. I know nowadays some people try to romanticize mental health disorders, which is wrong. Please don't try to turn mental illnesses into something cute or pretty, because they're not. Internet and fiction are very different from reality. Mental illnesses can destroy you psychologically, emotionally, and even physically. Because of this, many people from the outside don't take this problem seriously. So, to all the people who try to romanticize mental health disorders, don't do it. That is extremely disrespectful for the people who are sick. Well, as I've mentioned before, I have a blog on Tumblr and I receive a lot of messages there. Some of them are from people with doubts or questions, so I decided to answer some of them at the end of each episode. Feel free to message me at any time you want. Someone sent me this message anonymously the other day, and it says, I see that when people ask for your advice, one piece of advice you tend to give is for them to seek out and speak to a psychiatrist or a therapist. I'm not really sure how to phrase my question, but it's something along the lines of why do you suggest that / do you think it actually helps? Well, to answer this question, I really think it helps. I am currently seeing a psychiatrist, like I've said before, and I can tell you he has been helping me a lot. I've noticed a huge difference on my way of acting, thinking, and looking at life, and I've never had a panic attack since I've started seeing him. Plus, I know other people who go to therapists or psychiatrists and they're all much better. Receiving treatment from someone who knows what they're doing is crucial, so I truly believe it helps. I usually tell people to search for professional help according to what they describe, because in many cases they don't know what to do and they need treatment, but there's no one telling them that. Well, this is all for today. I know this was a very short episode, but this is only the beginning and I didn't want this one to be too long. In the next episodes, I'm going to individually address different disorders and I'm going to give some advice on how to cope with each one of them. So stay tuned for the next episode. I hope you have a wonderful day. Love you. Bye bye.